All right, well, hi, everybody. I'm EJ Hiltz. I'm the Energy Program Administrator in Rural Property Management in the Energy Department there. So welcome today, and we're going to talk about energy awareness and conservation. And so I think some of the topics we'll cover are energy awareness. We'll look at utility benchmarking, energy conservation. We'll show some of the renewable energy that we've done in the county and a little bit about water conservation. So just as an overview, RPM for the county includes 511 buildings. That represents over 600 million square feet. There's 235 of those buildings that are occupied with staff. The design and construction area of RPM has around $5 million in total projects. We also have 120 parks, which is over 5,000 acres of parks in the county. As far as RPM Energy, a little background, we have, as of 2014, we entered into the Better Business Challenge with the Department of Energy, and we committed to reducing our energy consumption by 20% by the year 2023. We also have incorporated energy conservation into our standards and guidelines. We've incorporated commissioning and retro commissioning into those guidelines. Also, we've implemented a new energy management information system. We've also worked with lighting and temperature controls. We have several solar photovoltaic installations throughout the county, and we've also worked with different fire station prototypes to get those as energy efficient as we can. As far as our commitment with the Department of Energy, like I said, it's with the Better Business Challenge. And our results so far is with the 2013 baseline, we've been able to save 12%. And in calendar year 2021, that was a 3% savings versus 2020. And then the chart down at the bottom just shows the number of properties and the percent improvement that they've attained since we committed to this program. As far as our standards and guidelines, what we've written in there is we have the current version of the IECC, or the International Energy Conservation Code, and we designed to a 20% improvement over the current code. And then we've also like I said, put commissioning and retro commissioning into our design guidelines. And that just basically puts another level of expertise to ensure that our buildings actually operate the way they were designed. And so a lot can happen during construction, and commissioning just ensures that everything that is in the drawings and plans actually happens when the building is constructed, and we actually have occupants moving in. The energy management system we implemented in 2021, and this really helps us with a lot of analytics, benchmarking, and reporting. We currently process over 6,600 utility bills every single month. That represents 18 different utilities, and the chart here just shows all the different utilities that we deal with, from AmeriGas Propane, City of Boulder City, City of Henderson, all the municipalities pretty much. The biggest utility we have is Nevada Energy. We currently have 5,500 accounts. That means 5,500 meters with Nevada Energy. That represents 14 different rate codes. And you can see a breakdown here of what we spend with each utility. Nevada Energy, for our 3 jurisdictions, is over $28 million a year. And then it goes down, the water district, we spend almost 9, Southwest Gas 3, and then all the way down to some of the smaller utilities where we might have one or 2 meters. And then this chart over on the right basically shows the benchmarking that we do. We have this energy management system provides direct links to the Energy Star program, and that benchmarks all of our sites on a BTU per square foot basis. So we can show and look at which of our sites is the most energy intensive and uses the most energy per square feet. And then we try and focus our energy efforts on a lot of those buildings that are on the higher end of these benchmarks. And then the chart over, the pie chart down on the bottom here kind of shows a breakdown of the different types of utilities. So for electric, we have Nevada Energy, Valley Electric, and Overton Power, but by far the majority of our energy dollars goes to electric, followed by water, because our parks use a lot of water for irrigation, and then followed by natural gas, sewer, and then propane, and whatever other smaller utilities we have. We also have the ability to look at interval data, which is pretty cool, I think. What we're showing on these slides is we can look at a street light, and we have a lot of 4G and 5G antennas on those streetlights, and we can look at 15-minute interval data and then determine what percent of that load is actually from the antenna, because the streetlights run 4,300 hours a year, basically dusk to dawn. So any usage when the streetlights are off represents the antenna usage. But just the ability to use pretty finite type data and get analysis of what their consumption is really helpful. So that's what we're showing on these slides, is just pretty robust system as far as looking at our electricity usage in this case. We have solar PV or solar photovoltaic installations throughout the county. We have 6 different sites. We have the government center. We have the building department, Hollywood Rec Center, 2900 North Torrey Pines. We have a large installation. We have one out at Mount Charleston at the Spring Mountain Youth Camp. And we also have one on the roof at Desert Breeze. But those 6 combined are about 340 kilowatts of electricity that we are generating with the solar PVs. Some of the projects that we've completed recently with capital funding for our operations, we've replaced chillers and boilers, a lot of HVAC replacements. We've modernized our elevators with regenerative drives. A lot of you have probably seen the water bottle filling stations at different sites. We've put in low flow fixtures for toilets and faucets. Also improved the building envelope with ceiling, window glazing, and we've also put in energy efficient fire pumps. So quite a big variety of capital improvements that we've installed recently that are pretty energy efficient. Oops. And it's just some of the highlights and updates from the energy savings we've attained. We're around $2 million a year in savings we've realized from the energy projects. The energy management software represents around $300,000 a year. And with the current rebates we just put in this month, we'll be well over $4 million in rebates that we've received for the different projects we've implemented. We've improved our building energy performance by 12% a year from a 2013 baseline. That's over 23 million kilowatt hours a year. And once again, that's over $2 million of financial savings. And some of these we've talked about, but we implemented that energy management system in 2021, which is a rather large undertaking with several departments involved. It automates all of the utility payments. So we really don't have any paper bills anymore. Everything from the utility invoice through the SAP payment is automated. So it really saves a lot of time and effort, especially in the accounting side. So, and also there's a lot of savings we've been able to attain from just finding billing errors, with 6,500 accounts every month. There's always a certain percent that have errors, and we've been able to catch those immediately. And that's part of the savings that we've attained. Some of the big projects we've done obviously are LED or lighting retrofits. This picture here is a picture of Desert Breeze Aquatics. Prior to the lighting retrofit is a photo on the left. And besides the 60% savings that we got in electricity savings, it's quite an improvement in lighting quality. It was fairly dark and yellow in there prior to the LED retrofit. And you can see even the color of the water looks somewhat appealing on the right, where on the left it almost had a green color. We did the government center outdoor retrofit, and this photo is actually from the security cameras, and it was just taken 2 weeks before the retrofit and then right afterward. But you can notice not just it's a lot more visible, but the color of the light is substantially better. And it also helps our security department because they can see through the security camera monitors what's going on the campus at the government center without getting in a golf cart and driving around. Some of the projects we've done are at the parks, and the one at the top is Mulaski Park. And this is in kind of a challenging area, and it's still a little bit hard to probably see on this photo, but this one was from a drone. But the key thing park police wanted to see was the walking path around the park. And you can now see on the right, most of the path around the entire park, where below it's hard to even tell where the walking path is. At the Pinto campus, we retrofitted all the outdoor lighting. Once again, this is a security camera still, not edited or anything, but it's quite a bit higher visibility on the right than what we were seeing prior to putting the LED lighting in. This is Desert Diamonds Baseball Complex in Mountain's Edge. So this is a project that one of the first projects where we're able to incorporate LED into the design. And if you haven't been out there, you got to check it out. But this is a fourplex, really high quality baseball complex. And just some of the really, I think, are cool things with this light is that on the field, the visibility is really good. So the quality of play, I think we can have AAA games out there. But behind the lights, like 2 feet behind the light, there's no light. We call it light trespass, but there's no light that goes where it shouldn't. So all the light is directed on the field. And then above the light fixture, there's no light trespass or light pollution, which is compliant with dark sky. So there's no light pollution going up into the sky from these lights. So even though we're getting a really high quality product on the field, there's no really side effects or undesirable light pollution that goes up into the sky. And James Regional is another one that we were able to incorporate into the design, one of the first. This is 16 soccer fields just south of Warm Springs and just east of Durango. And also here you can notice, the fields really are lit up like they should be at 50-foot candles for competitive soccer play. But directly behind the light fixtures and above them, there's just no light trespass. So, if you're a stargazer, hopefully, you're still able to see the sky and not be interrupted by, big balls of light that you often see from metal halide fixtures at different sites. We just recently, this past year, completed a fairly large retrofit at Desert Breeze. And one of the most challenging things of this project, but also I thought was probably one of the coolest, was doing the the aquatic center sign and the kites with LED tubing. And we also did the letters, for the Desert Breeze pool in LED. But this is pretty amazing. You can see this sign all the way from the corner of Durango and Spring Mountain. But it was fairly challenging to get this to work, but I think it looks pretty cool. And then the overall site, you can see, the Desert Breeze sign down here, but the entire site, including the 5 soccer fields on the north side, the soccer fields way over on the Durango side, the 4 baseball fields, the basketball court over on Durango, the hockey and the roller hockey and skateboarding park on the Spring Mountain, all are lit up without pollution going into the sky. And then the parking lot, you can have really good visibility over on the soccer side and over on the rec center and the aquatic center side. So that was a very large project, but I think it's a lot safer out there now and a lot more visible. People feel safer on the playground. So another successful project. But what I think we transition into now is how can you maybe take some of the stuff that we do at the county and apply this to what you can do at home to save energy. So there's a lot of different things that either go into design of an energy efficient home or a LEED home, including like radiant barrier in the roof decking. We'll talk about radiant barrier a little bit. Insulation levels, tankless water heaters, wall insulations, building envelope, low E glass for the windows, and weather resistant barriers for the siding. So you probably don't want to invest in a energy management system like we have, because you don't have 6,500 meters to manage. But one of the easiest things I think you can do is use the utility apps on your smartphone. Excuse me, but you can basically get a lot of data from these apps. So this is the Nevada Energy app, and you can see like what you're paying this month. I think for me is $56. Last month, because there was still some air conditioning going on, it was 90. Last year it was 49. You can look at trends, how much you spend per day. And then you can look at your projected bill. So I think it's going to be 80 for this month. You can hit view history. You can look at your invoices for, I think they have 24 invoices that you can look back on by clicking that. You can set up equal pay. So for me, I have $92 a month, just every month. And then that equalizes once a year. And that's been going down, which is a good thing. You can sign up for energy. You can do an online assessment, or you can schedule somebody to come out and do an energy assessment. You can see which appliances or what areas of your house are using the most electricity. And then you can also look at your daily usage. So this chart right here shows the last 30 days, what your average daily usage is in kilowatt hours. And then the last chart on the right is, if you break that down, you can look at 1 day in 15-minute increments. So you can actually see like when the refrigerator kicks on, throughout the day, and try, if you want to, you can basically see which appliances are contributing the most to your electric bill. And obviously, if we were looking at July, you can see when your air conditioner spikes up. Southwest Gas app is probably not as robust as Nevada Energy's, but also has a lot of good information on it. It tells you your current balance, current bill, and I'll talk about this in a minute because this is a little bit concerning. Current bill was $185. Last month was 40, so it's more than 4 times last month. And last year was 73, so it's well more than double what last year's bill was. And if we look at dollars, which is this chart is, you can just see that this dark green bar chart is significantly higher in dollars than it was last year. And as far as usage, usage is up quite a bit, but not as much as the dollars. But this kind of bothered me actually, because I think I'm pretty conscious of what I do in my home, and why would my bill go up, 4 times from last year? And the reason is, this first chart shows the natural gas commodity contract on the NYMEX. And in 2020, this was down like around $2.20 an MMBTU. And earlier this year, it spiked up to over $10 an MMBTU, and it's come down a little bit since then, but still it's up significantly since 2020 and even 2021 in January. But that correlates directly to how Southwest Gas prices their rates and what you ultimately see on your bill. But in the last year, Southwest Gas, for the commodity was under 30 cents a therm. And that has gone all the way up to 75 cents a therm. So that's like 165% increase on the cost that Southwest Gas builds into their rate. So that's bad enough, right? But I also looked at weather. So I pulled the Harry Reid Airport weather data and just took the month of November. And so last year, the heating degree days, which heating degree days are what energy engineers or mechanical engineers will use when they design systems. And it takes the high and the low temperature for the day, averages that, and subtracts 65 degrees to get what's called a degree day. But the heating degree days last year were 34. And the heating degree days in November of 2022 were 246. So the month of November was significantly colder than it was in 2021. And that was actually 623% colder. So the combination of those two things, significantly colder month of November combined with really big increase in the gas costs, which relates back to the commodity as it's traded on the NYMEX, results in, I'm sure most of you, if you haven't seen your November bill already, you're going to see it and probably not be very happy about it. But that's really the reason. The good news is, we've seen this gas price on the NYMEX is coming down. And the way Southwest Gas bills its rates is there's a lag, because they're regulated by the Nevada Public Utilities Commission, or PUCN. There's a lag between when the price that they pay for gas actually is reflected in rates. But the good news is it looks like the trend is coming down. So this could be temporary, but it's probably going to be a fairly expensive winter for natural gas costs. And then the water district, probably the last of the big utilities that we pay, has an app. It's not quite as useful as some of the others, partially in the way water is billed, but you can see your monthly bills, and the trend if you water more in the summer. But what is kind of useful is you can find out, with the watering restrictions, which watering group you're in. So for example, if you're in watering group A, that means that you can water on Monday, right? And it also has the schedules, so 1 day a week in the winter, and also has information how you can try and save water, and different types of emitters and the duration that you have for each of those. So a lot of useful information on this app. Also, just hard to drill down when they don't really have daily or hourly data. Talk a little bit about energy efficient lighting in the home. So when I moved into my home, I think the first thing I did, actually when I got the truck unloaded or whatever, was retrofit all the lights. And I think there was 65 different bulbs that I ended up retrofitting with LED. And it's just some of them, but you can go all the way to your chandelier and get a LED light that will deliver whatever color temperature, whether you want it more yellow or more white, that is comparable to any incandescent or fluorescent lamp that might have been in there previously. And the easy way to do that is I recommend going to the EPA's EnergyStar.gov website. And, when you're going to buy a bulb, either Home Depot or Walmart or Amazon, if you're going to order one, look for the Energy Star label. You'll see it on the lamp itself. And that way, it's going to be a pretty efficient light bulb. And it has at least met Energy Star's criteria for maintenance and number of hours that it'll operate before you would have to change it. But ideally, you probably wouldn't have to change it for 10 years. You can look, most lamps are going to be what they call an A19 or standard, but depending on what type of fixture you have, you can see which type of lamp would fit in there. And then we talked a little bit about the color, but you can see the color scale. So when you are ordering it, if you want it really yellow or what they call warm, you're down in the 2000 or 2200 range. And if you want a real white light, you would just look to get like 6500 is really bright, but in the 5000 range is really pretty white light. The county standard is 4000 Kelvin, which is a natural light. And a few reasons for that. The visibility, like when we do street lights or outdoor lighting, is pretty much ideal. And it also is a very safe light. Cars can see quite a long distance ahead at 4000 K. When you get into the lower Kelvin temperatures, the visibility goes down quite a bit. But there is applications for each of these Kelvin temperatures. I kind of like the more yellow light in, the dining room or bedroom areas where you kind of are starting to relax and want to chill out, so to speak. And, the 4000 where you want to be alert, maybe your office. And then this last little chart down here just shows if you're replacing like a 100-watt incandescent, which is kind of a standard A19 lamp, the lumens that would be equivalent for LED. It can also filter on their website. So, if you're looking for an A21 lamp, you can, check that box. You want LED, you want it dimmable. And for each of these filters that you check, it'll give you the brand and the product that is Energy Star rated. So if you do want to just go through that quick little filtering mechanism, it'll give you a product that you can go look for or order online. The Energy Star site also has other products. You can pretty much pick whether it be a heat pump or a refrigerator, clothes dryer, TVs, any type of appliance. They will go through and show you which brands and which models are rated Energy Star, and you can then look for that at the appliance store, Best Buy, or wherever you want to go look. They also have a section for upgrading your home. You can look at different types of heating and cooling systems, really efficient water heaters, smart T-stats, talk about insulation, high performing windows like low E glass, and how to make your home electric ready. One easy thing to do is with radiant barrier insulation. And radiant barrier has been around for quite a few years, but what it is like 2 sheets of aluminum foil that are separated by a bubble pack, and really easy to install. I got, I think, 3 rolls of this at Home Depot for $70. You just cut these to fit in your garage panel, and you can see before or without the radiant barrier, it was 155 degrees. And after, that was able to be reduced by over 50 degrees, so 53 actually. So that's just an easy one that you can do to keep your garage cool in the summer. It doesn't add any weight to your garage door like styrofoam panels might, and provide quite a bit of cooling. Uh, you know, as far as clean heating and cooling, another thing that easy to do at home is to keep your filters replaced. You can see over on the right, you know, what a dirty filter looks like versus a clean filter, but several benefits from that. In addition to energy efficiency, it'll keep your keep all the dust out, so you'll have higher air quality. And what we recommend at the county, at least for our county buildings, is a MERV 13 for your home. I think MERV 12 is probably okay. And you just look for the MERV rating on the filters for whatever filter size you have. And, you know, I think they typically last a lot longer than the cheaper filters. You can probably just do this, you know, change them once every season. So once in the fall, once in the spring, and it should be okay. And there's also information on, you know, getting an efficient water heater. So if you think you might need to replace your water heater, go to the Energy Star site and you can see what products they have rated. Smart T-Stats is another one. You know, I have the ecobee, which I have a few screenshots of here. The nice thing is, you know, you can program it so when you're not home, and I think it's over here on the right, you can go each day of the week when you're not going to be occupying, set it for a certain setback temperature, and then have it, you know, kick on 30 minutes before you're going to arrive, and quite a bit of savings from that. And another benefit, if you have kids that like to mess with the thermostat when you're not home, you can get back on and set it back to a reasonable level. So your AC is not running all afternoon long, keeping it at, you know, 68 degrees or something. Insulation, in addition to radiant barrier, you know, you can increase the levels in your attic for energy savings. Once again, Energy Star has a whole site dedicated to that. And then finally, they have a section on how to make your home electric ready. So if you're thinking about buying an electric vehicle, you know, we'll go through pretty much a checklist, tell you what you need to do to put an EV charger in your garage or driveway. And then finally, just, you know, you've probably heard some of these words. They're becoming sort of a little more common now. So energy efficiency is what we've talked a lot about here, is making a product more efficient without changing the fuel source. So you change your incandescent 100-watt lamp to a 10-watt LED, that's energy efficiency. Electrification is making a product more efficient while changing its fuel source. So replacing a gas furnace with an electric heat pump would be a pretty common example of electrification. And then decarbonization is choosing the fuel supply by moving from a fossil fuel to a green fuel. So, you know, tank of gas, converting it to a hydrogen fuel cell. And then finally, I'll just talk a little bit about some of the regulations that are happening right now. So in California, starting in January of 2023, which is next month, all new construction, residential, cannot install natural gas. So everything in that house will need to be all electric. And that affects the gas utility here. Southwest Gas also serves the Tahoe area. And so basically all the new homes in Tahoe and Truckee will have to be all electric. And so kind of a significant effect on the gas utilities going forward. I don't know when we'll see that in Nevada, but there are other states besides California that has done this. I think Vermont has banned natural gas in new construction. And, you know, not always, but typically what happens in California kinds of find its way east. So we'll see what happens, but just be aware that, you know, there may be some type of ban on natural gas in the near future. And that kind of affects what we see as far as our energy use breakdown. Typically, heating and cooling is 43% of of utilities that you pay, and then you have a smaller breakdown with water, heating, lighting, and other ancillary costs. And if we look at what gas is used for, primarily, I think a lot of the houses here, there's gas heating, quite often water heating, obviously cooking, and the two that aren't on here are clothes drying. And we also have a lot of gas fireplaces and gas barbecues. And I'm not really sure how electric barbecues are going to work yet, but some lifestyle changes are going to occur when natural gas is not available in residential areas. As far as HVAC, heat pumps will be an option to replace gas furnaces. For hot water, heat pump water heaters will be, an available option. One thing to consider, if it's in the garage, not a big deal, but if you're putting it in a closet, make sure that you have enough ventilation coming in, or you have a louvered door somehow to get airflow into that area. And then cooking, induction, cooking, which we see a picture of here. There's some cool things with it. Even though the food that you're cooking is getting heated up, you can put your hand on the induction surface and it feels cool to the touch. It's just basically the conduction of the electric current into the pan that cooks the food. But yeah, we're gonna see like all the areas where affected are water heating, our space heating, clothes drying, cooking. So with that, I think that is about all we have time to talk about today. So thank you for your patience going through this.
Thank you so much, EJ, for sharing all your knowledge with us. Now we'll get to some of the questions that are in the chat. There's just a few. So the first one is, how do I advocate for my buildings to install solar or advocate for my parks to install LEDs?
Good question. Well, I'll take the second one first. As far as the parks, I would contact the RPM Parks Department, which is under Ron Carrington. And we take all that into consideration when we decide where we're going to allocate capital to upgrade the lighting, such as we did at Desert Breeze and other parks. So we have a couple in the works right now. I think Silverado Park is one we're going to start retrofitting all the lighting next month. Pearson Park's another one, but certainly if there's a park that you think isn't safe or should have LED retrofit, let us know. And as far as solar, I'm not really sure what the question was, but Nevada Energy on their site will list what the rebates are as far if it's on a residence. And they also have a preferred list of vendors that you can check out.
Great, thank you. And then the last question for today is, what does RPM have on their vision board for energy conservation in 2023?
Our vision board, well, we're going to continue what we have been doing, which is a lot of LED retrofits. The reason, and those are a lot of outdoor LED retrofits, but there's just a huge amount of savings because a lot of the lamps and fixtures that we're retrofitting are 1500 watt or 1000 watt metal halides. And we're able to replace those with 300 or 400 watt LEDs. So that's somewhere between 60 and 70% savings. I know the Public Works Department is currently and also has on their board streetlight retrofits. And they did over 11,000 streetlights this past year with LED, which is a huge amount of savings also, because those are around 60% energy savings compared to either metal halide or high pressure sodium.
Great. Thank you so much, EJ, for all of this information. The recording of this presentation will be posted on our YouTube channel for those who missed it. But besides that, if anybody has any further questions, you could contact me or EJ and we'll follow up with you on those.